Thomas and the Magic Railroad. The first Thomas and Friends movie. I have very fond memories of this movie, and I bet a lot of adults who saw it in July 2000 do as well. This was a very cultural impact on the entire series, and really impacted its legacy. At the time when I first saw this, I thought it was really good. However, when rewatching it later when I was older, I kind of think it's sort of bad. I remember getting this DVD and watching it several times at my grandma's. However, when I got to the chase scene, I was really scared for some reason and just turned it off. So, this is the new series that I talked about in my poll. It's going to be when I analyse all the Thomas movies, from Thomas and the Magic Railroad to Big World Big Adventures, and give you my thoughts on them. So, without further ado, let's start with the positives.
By the invitation of Sir Topham Hatt, of course.
Number 1, trains are cool. Now, I think this goes without saying, but I think the true feel of Thomas the Tank Engine is in this movie. It feels so right, and while most of the human stuff is the focus, but the actual Thomas stuff that is in this is so right. They nailed the feel of Thomas in this movie. The props we know and love in movie form at the time was so cool, and it still is today. Number 2, Diesel 10. Diesel 10 was the best thing to come out of this movie. It may be weird, and the concept of him is weird, but he's a good character. He just like that funny villain to fill in for P.T. Boomer, which I think was very more threatening. And he's basically just to be intimidated by the engines. But he gets angry. He can be pretty threatening. He's very scary to the engines like Thomas and James is very sure to be afraid of him. Where he tries to push James and Junior into the smelting pit is so scary. You can really tell he's a threatening villain here. Number 2, setups and payoffs. Now this isn't really noticed in the film, but there's some things in this that kind of brought to my attention. Certain things that I set up earlier and then brought up later. What I noticed was that in one of the earlier scenes, when the buffers stop Thomas, and he says,
"That's what buffers are for, to stop engines from crashing."
Only for them to not stop him when he goes through the portal later and onto the Magic Railroad. I really like that, and it also sets up Thomas's arc for the film. Another one I noticed was James. Throughout most of the film, he's complaining about his paintwork having to be clean. However, after nearly getting murdered by Diesel 10, in probably my favourite scene of the whole movie, after he escapes from his menacing claw, he dirties his paint and isn't hung up by it. Maybe this was his arc for the film. Must have done because the purpose made him dirty for this shot. Well, at least have been made some things right. See it for positives though. Now let's go into why the movie sucks.
Alteration.
Number 1, the plot is a mess. This is really stunk because it was Thomas's big adventure to the big silver screen. It should be a really good movie, but no, the plot is a complete mess of all these obscure human characters which we know nothing about. Mr. C, Junior, Burnett Stone, and Lily. The really weird thing is that Thomas is not the main character, and I think that's a brilliant segue to the next part of negatives. Thomas who? For some strange reason, I have no idea why, Thomas was not the main character of this movie. Mr. Conductor is, and don't get me wrong, Alec Baldwin is super entertaining in this.
Wait a minute. Be
expected coming to see the movie to see him or Peter Fonda or Mara Wilson. They came to the cinema to watch the blue train with the face from the TV show Have an Adventure, which they only really get in the last 15 minutes. I don't know, man. I really don't like this movie. I have mixed feelings on it. I'm not saying it's bad, but I think it's just okay. That's what I have to say about this movie. I think it's okay, to say the least. I must say, though, it has been fun rewatching this movie. I'm glad I found some new things in it. I just don't think it's good. But that's alright. There's plenty of better ones we'll look at in the future.
We've come to the happy end of our
Say it
story.
with me now.
And
It's time for all of us to go home. Just like Thomas.